Welcome back. We're here to do the Eclipse in Aries. I had to get the streaming deck ready for Instagram. This is probably a long overdue energy update, which I used to actually directly record to each platform. So we do have those of you on Facebook, a very warm welcome. Those of you on YouTube who have been following me for a long time, as well as streaming to Instagram. So I may not be able to see your comments on Instagram, but I didn't want to leave you guys out because we do cover these energies, but also very separately, if you are wanting energy updates, I also do share them via the website. However, ironically enough, a lot of people do not like to read. And so, we have to understand that individuals like to have their energy updates in different formats, a little bit like learning. So we're very sensory energies as human beings. And this is one of those eclipses that we can find is going to create such a significant change in our life, as well as the fact that, especially from a psychic medium point of view, I felt this was a necessary time to ground the energy and give some context to how we can potentially deal with these energies, as well as what the yin to the yang and everything is going down with it. Because I do work as an energy worker, I am a psychic medium, as well as I do cover the astrology. Now, this eclipse is going to be pretty unique. Number one is there's been a lot of talks, really. I mean, you literally could stream down the aisle, so to speak, on YouTube and in social media. It is everywhere. The big eclipse that is hitting America. And it's interesting because when you do look at the actual chart of where the eclipse is actually going, it may be linking to that area. However, pardon me, don't think it is the only area that is directly going to be impacted. And I will be mentioning via my blog post, I'm going to make reference points to it, to do with the locations, which generally speaking, when we do look at a portal and an eclipse, we can tend to find that those signatures are already happening the month before. We also do have the cycle between Libra and Aries, which I'm going to break down inside your zodiac sign, as well as the context of what aspects are being made and how that's directly going to impact us. Now, this is going to be a signature that is shifting people energy. We tend to find there is a difference between solar and lunar. So it is collectively going to be shifting us. It also can cause agitation, but this energy would have been picking up most of the month. So we can feel a little bit like Penny Little, the sky's falling down, having to get a lot of things done, feeling those pressure points, really feeling a need for change. But we can be also very fretful about some of these circumstances, whether they be omens. A lot of the videos have gone down the rabbit hole of mythology. We're going to be talking about down to the eclipse, what can be popping off here. We synchronistically do have the devil comet, but when you do look at the dates, it is actually closer a bit later on in the month. So I think mid-month is going to be pretty interesting. So I don't think this energy is over, but there definitely is an element going on with the comets looking up to the sky and subjects to that matter. Separately, we will cover the Sabian symbol, which we'll get back to in a minute in relationship to these subjects. Now, it's interesting. The one thing I didn't mention was CERN, and there is a scientific energy is really coming through astrology at this point in time. And there was a huge mention of a test to do with dark matter, to do with the God particle, and doing an experiment that is occurring underground. Energetically via the astrology, if you are to look at it, I do find it really unique that it's happening around this time. When you do go to their website, although individuals are saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the experiment was going to be happening the same day of the eclipse, the website actually states the opposite. It actually states that tests are going ahead. The all go is there, and it's proceeding forward, and it does look to be off the 9th. So again, with it, regardless of be it it's on the 8th, be it it's on the 9th, what we can see is with the Mercury retrograde happening in the house of Aries is interesting that it's something it's very fast paced. It can be fire orientated. It can be, pushing atoms together, so to speak. So in a Mercury retrograde, we can find there sometimes could be mishaps with those situations. So there is a potential of mishaps, but there can be discovery as well. We also do have Mars sitting in the place of Pisces, which again is very psychic in nature. And this can be anything scientific. This can be to do with death and rebirth. And again, the discovery scientifically, we are going to see some huge innovation. The other subject matters I've seen moving towards this eclipse, which we're really going to dig into it, is the fact that a lot of subjects to do with, ironically, Pluto are coming up. Now, in astrology land, we have signatures of planets and what their homeland is, so to speak. I am seeing signatures of Pluto coming through, although we can't necessarily say Mars directly links to it. It is bringing up large subjects to do with Pluto in Aquarius, and this can be to do with innovation, technology, people actually having feelings to do with these circumstances, changes in our cultural beliefs directly to do with technology, and how we're using those things. The other thing is we are going to be having a conjunction. Jupiter is going to be making a conjunction to Taurus later on in the month. This can be a rags to riches kind of conjunction, but it also can, because it is Uranian in energy and Pluto currently is in Aquarius, we can notice power changing. And this can be power going on, power going off, interferences with technology. I have mentioned within the website the areas. I'm going to go off screen for a minute while I grab it up, and I'm going to tell you the areas that I directly feel are going to be hit quite heavy. And these signatures of the eclipses, they're still really playing out between the Libra Aries axis, even as we move towards it tomorrow as of the 8th. Now, just find the info. And again, if you do want to reference it, you can go to the website and it is written there. And I do recall actually discussing the direct links and locations. So I'm going to try and find that. Okay, so we have the Devil Comet coming in at that point in time. Mars can be signatures of war. Now, during this eclipse, we have the locations. Brazil, United States, Mexico is where these locations are separately. We will look at the energy of Libra, which did have other locations. Where is it? Okay. And you will notice some of these places I'm mentioning have already had subjects coming up. Greenland, Brazil, Mexico, Chile, United States, Canada, Iceland, UK. Other areas that can directly be hit is Australia, but you'll find more Sydney, New South Wales, Melbourne, Tasmania, potentially WA, New Zealand and the surrounding islands, Japan and Russia. And interestingly enough, like I mentioned, this always happens. You will always get the signatures of that eclipse prior to it occurring. So we have seen volcanic eruptions. We have seen tremors and earthquakes. It is quite common the 2 weeks portal into an eclipse and 2 weeks out that these are potentials. And when you go to the zodiac sign and you directly look at the country, it can be associated to, especially where you do look at the path in which it does move. It can show signatures and hot spots. We also do currently have, which is another hot topic, that can relate to internet, electricity, how we're using things in a sustainable way. We do have the sun that has been looked at quite thoroughly, and we are moving into a stage where in its cycle, it is going to be doing a flip. So with solar flares coming in, that directly can be causing some situations. It also can interfere with technology. Again, coming up tomorrow, moving into the eclipse, a lot of locations have been reporting. And it's funny how we are ever so separate. We look at the land of astrology and it's very separate. We look at the land of astronomy and science and it's separate. And then we look at news and weather and it's separate. And they all directly are interlinked really in a synchronistic manner. It's almost like maybe if all energies were merging, we could all get on the same table, but definitely you can see the signatures of this, and it can be that there can be shifts. Now, the other thing is Aries is a warm temperature energy. It is fire. So we do around these times need to be careful around elements of fire. This can be not leaving things on the stove, paying attention, really driving very carefully. And although the eclipse is happening on the 8th, this will be for the entirety of the month, especially with Mercury retrograde in Aries. We also can be experiencing overdrive of the mind, thinking very fast, grand ideas coming in, passionate thoughts and feelings. It could be a good time to actually journal. Spiritual practices, however, as much as many individuals do talk about workshops with meditation from a psychic medium point of view, this is not something that I would recommend. Interestingly enough, a lot of these scientific kind of what will we say, investigations are occurring around the time of the eclipse. And what we can find from a psychic point of view and a spirituality point of view is when we're opening portals up, if we're not grounded, we do get the yin to the yang. So we get the negative and the positive. So understanding it and being able to control that energy when we're opening portals, you're going to get both polarities, both the negative and the positive. So that's about the only concern I really would have. The other thing is subjects to do with the core that had been moving, the earth core, that has shifted axis as well. So there is a lot in the energy field of earth within our bodies, within our lives that is shifting. This does bring the signature of a new beginning for us, but there's tension points as we're moving towards the eclipse. There's tension points moving out of the eclipse. The zodiac signs directly that I would say that may feel this frequency more heavy and can get very agitated will be definitely Leo, because you guys are linked to the sun. I had a candid chat with my family today, and it was to do with our zodiacs and how we directly can be impacted by these frequencies. So when sun has direction, okay? It has this routine, it knows where it's going, its brightness. When it's eclipsed, you can feel more agitated, Leos, during this transition. The other can be Cancer, being moon. Although you, from an intuitive level, could feel irritability, frustration. So those two zodiacs. Separately, we will have Aries and Libra. Now, if you know your birth chart, it can be quite key to the circumstance in understanding how these situations directly can impact you. And although, yes, the eclipse is happening tomorrow, it doesn't mean to say it's not a good time to book a reading with somebody or to go and look at your zodiac sign or to pull up your birth chart, because the signature is going to hold a long time. Now, these eclipses can be quite rare. The next time we will be closing this cycle out, I believe, from checking the dates, because we go from solar and lunar, their openings and closing portals, is going to be in 2032 to 31. So that's quite a long time. So whatever we do initiate at this point in time, it can be very long standing. Now, don't get too scared by that, because there is significant changes that we are directly going to experience. And I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of actually discussing how it's going to impact each zodiac sign. So others that can directly be the effect of it, I would definitely go to astroseek.com, especially for the beginners that want to actually break down their chart. You can type in astroseek.com birth chart or AstroSeek birth chart. And what it's going to do is you can key in your details into the birth chart calculator. And as it pulls it up, you can go to planet placements, and it's going to give you the houses it's in. It's going to break it down and show you. And it's got two different charts, so you can check where Aries and Libra axes are. And the other area you need to look at this point in time that is causing some aspects is Pisces in your chart, because we do have 12 houses. So if anyone's ever come up to you and said, what is your zodiac sign? And you've had the old cliche, you can, from a predictive point of view, get a general reference if you understand elements of astrology. But what you'll find is actually looking at your birth chart, what that signature is going to give you is going to be totally different to just that. So I would always look at your birth chart as well as your zodiac, because you're going to get both polarities occurring. For me, I was driving the other day, and in the members, I said, right, because I do connect in with the members on YouTube. We have a members community. We talk about astrology. We talk about twin flame path, ascension, awakenings, and being that I cover those areas, I regularly chime in and communicate with individuals. And we did talk about the reference point of Aries, because we have the eclipse in Aries. We have, and it's at 19 degrees. Watch it in a minute. I'll talk about the Sabian symbol and what it means. It can be the signature of how we can be dealing with this frequency at that 19-degree point. We also have the North Node in Aries, which is general in a signature of eclipses. The next thing we have is Aries and Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So at this point in time, if you're having triggers coming up, if you can actually look at your chart, or you can go to an astrologer, or you can, listen to a reading, and an astrology-based reading, I would definitely recommend at this point in time. It's going to give you some information about what is going to be happening in your life. Hi, Sweet. That is going to give you guidance as to what's going to be happening in the decades coming, because this is a shift. This is a new signature. This is a new area of your life that is opening up. And it can be, at the moment, feeling like a pressure cooker, but you also need to understand why those things are happening and where things can pop off. And that can make you feel a little bit less crazy. And it can help you actually gain the benefits out of what is coming over the detriments. Now, could there also be negative things in the media? 100%. It's Mars, okay? We are going to, in our own personal lives, directly be impacted by those things. It is a little bit like a tree. We are like family collectively. We are interconnected, and we saw that during 2020 when we had the Great Conjunction. Suddenly everyone was home. So inadvertently, energy always does directly impact everybody, but it's also us as individuals, how we are making those changes, where they're hitting in our charts and our lives. And how to directly deal with them, which I'm going to try and break them down for you guys here tonight, as I foolishly am doing this, and I do have to wake up at 3:30 a.m. So I must love you guys. So with the devil comet coming in the old times, we used to think this was quite significant, and this can be, especially with all the changes. I can directly say, in the next decades to come, we are going to be looking to the stars. We do have Pluto and Aquarius, and we are going to see a lot to do with space, to do with changes with space, inhabiting other planets, technology transforming. This also with the sun, with Mercury retrograde, with the eclipse, we can look upon this as, what will we say, an omen? Could we say an omen? It also can be like the star card in tarot. We will pay attention to that. It's interesting how it's going to directly transfer it. Some have been calling this the devil comet because initially it had horns. Funny enough, we are in the year of the dragon. So some have actually noted that it does look like a dragon. So we are, and when you do look to the dragon energy, it is about being assertive. It's about going for your goals. To reach success. It's about fighting for your beliefs and your dreams and to make them come true theoretically. Now, the Sabian symbol, let's jump into that because we don't have all night, right? Although I do have my hot chocolate here to keep me going. I hope you guys have hot drink. Okay, so the Sabian symbol of Aries at this degree point is called the magic carpet. The magic carpet hovers over depressing realities of everyday life in an industrial area. The use of imagination for self-evaluation, higher perspectives, and realism, elevating oneself above the worry and imbalance. The need to shift negative situations through creativity and to be calmer with balance in areas. So we can find at the moment that we're spiritually not having balance, and it's something that we're really, really craving. We're needing to look beyond the spectrum, and this is especially with Mars at the moment in the house of Pisces. Mars wants to go forward. Pisces is like, whoa, 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 I'm stuck in my head right now. Let me think about this. The shadow sign of Pisces is Virgo. So it's going to want detail, but it feels rushed. And it has to happen now. Everything has to happen now. Saturn and Neptune also are in the house of Pisces. So it's almost feeling that we're very bogged down, we're very restricted, we're feeling like we're in quicksand. Why do we have so much crap on our hands? Why can't we get to that dream, or why can't we get to that thing that we need to do right now? A, Mercury's retrograde. B, we're moving into an eclipse. It's going to take something away to give us something more. Some of us could be physically removing a circumstance in our life. Some of us also could have a situation where we just, if you're wanting to launch something, it's going to be difficult during this time. You're better off to tie up loose ends, take the signature, take little steps towards that new beginning. In the interim while this is transitioning, but it's not saying no. It's saying this is the time we're having those new chapters. And if you were wanting to get things done, a lot of things were eliminated from 2020 in our lives. They were transitioned, they were transformed. We had squares to Uranus and Taurus. It was causing issues with that. It's almost like we were tight roping things. Now is the time that we're actually going, right, this is the time for launching those new beginnings. Elevated perspectives revealing greater truth. Risk of this energy can be escapism, and Pisces does link to escapism. The use of pacifiers and dealing with our stress. A lot of times it's a little bit like the deer in the woods. We can get to a space where we feel, look, I'm too scared to be the bad guy. I don't know what decision. Left has bad elements, right has bad elements. So what do? I do nothing. So it's about balancing both the 3D and the 5D. And so what do I mean by the 3D and the 5D? The 3D can be your physical reality of where you currently stand in your life. It can be acknowledging that a situation is crappy, or acknowledging that something's not quite where you want it to be. And the 5D is the highest octane of what you feel it could be. You know, the end goal, the dream, the Zen space, the whole thing. The 4D is that fair-based frequency, and it's very ego-related. And at the moment, where's Mercury? Mercury. It is in retrograde. So we are going back down over memory lane. We're reflecting. We're at war with it psychologically. But this person said this, or this happened to me, and I'm a victim in the circumstance. It doesn't mean we're going to remain there. It can come up, okay? But it's balancing. And so it's almost like the liberation comes from acknowledgement of what the problem is. So it can be having this aha moment of going, you know what, my 3D and my 5D is not balanced. My working life and my pleasure life is not balanced. My love life and my communication life, it's just out of balance. So whatever that is, we're moving into that. Now, could we sink our head into the sand like an ostrich? We could. It will be only temporary. Because next year will be different, which will challenge you to address these. But this year, this portal here is big for really breaking up. I definitely can see a lot of innovators, business owners, people transitioning jobs, people shifting out of toxic relationships or workplaces at this time, if it hasn't happened already. Okay. Astral travel. This can be very psychic, except be careful about what you're bringing in. So is it a good time to channel? If you have a very strong vault and hold in your abilities, this would not be the time to go and clear somebody's house that has hoodoo gurus in it, okay? Clear your homes, protect it prior to the eclipse. If you can't get everything done, just create one space for when you rest, because a lot of times psychic attacks, it could be nightmare states, psychic attacks, bad luck, and things to that degree. It will happen around the 3-day portal of either side. So if the only room you can do in your house is your bedroom, do that, because it's in our sleeping life that we directly can be impacted. We can have that unrest mentally, emotionally, and in the sleep space. The other thing I can say is, you know, this is not necessarily a good time to do guided meditation. Again, I will say from a psychic medium point of view, and I have had a lot of experience in this area of psychic attacks, what you don't want to do is, if you're fatigued, is to open portals. The portals open anyway, so you want to protect yourself. This is a time of detoxing, resting, having the psychic updates, acknowledging them, maybe feeling a bit cloudy and a bit off. And then within 3 days after that, that's when you can actually make those changes. It's a little bit like going to the shop hungry. You're always going to buy more. So this is not the time to make spontaneous decisions. Testing things out, not cementing things that are very permanent in nature, although permanent situations can come about during this time. It's going to feel more logical as Mercury goes direct. And I think it's really, these transits are doing us a favor, because it's almost like to be sure, can be blessings of the past that you weren't able to launch coming back on the table again, partnerships from the past coming back, reworking them, working through the energy. If you're solo, regardless, that healing is going to open you up to new chapters, which again, we will talk about it inside your zodiacs. So, astral travel, transcending issues, meditation. Now, the meditation, again, I would avoid until after. I feel it's more, this will come through in a natural way where you will have revelations. I would use this word more in the sense of revelations after the eclipse 100%. Escape via fantasy. So we might want to indulge in, you could become absolutely obsessed at the moment and go down the rabbit hole of sci-fi, or it could be anything to do with war, doomsday prepper. Like it will become obsessive. Your feelings to do with things also can get that way. Okay, it can be concerns and worries that can crop up. We are called to rise above situations. Meditation and spiritual practices, prayers, workshops, I definitely would do prior and after. Okay, self-defeating detachment from everyday world, losing yourself in fights, fancy, extreme longing to escape, using of pacifiers. Now, that's a side effect of it. It doesn't mean you're going to do that, but this is the Sabian symbol linking to this. Now, we are going to look at the zodiac signs. What zodiac signs do we have in the house? I'm going to quickly chime in and have a look at everyone. I look super. Oh, Elma, I literally swear, I just put my hair down. It was like, this is not my finest. You know this, girl. This is not my finest. I've had better days. But I just really feel some of this. Look, a lot of the channels that are really talking about things that are coming up, they're extreme possibilities. I've been saying this for years. 100%. I hope you're well. You're probably going through huge changes. I can't even remember your zodiac sign, Elma. Although I do miss that kitchen window. Are you still there? So, crystals you can use during this eclipse, I would use onyx or tourmaline. If you can't charge it, I would probably wash it with salt. I would add it in your bed, put it in your pocket, take it with you. That can protect you. Capricorn and Pisces. Oh, I bet you've had fun. That Capricorn energy at the end of the year is coming back in Pluto for its last hurrah. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, look, a lot of us will be going through burnout. So the measures that we can take is to understand, and I've had to say this to myself, especially because at the moment, my beautiful passion and my love is my business and my work that I do via my website and YouTube. It's also about the fact that a lot of us in the spiritual energy have maybe due to finances had to do two things, which I directly am doing two things at the moment, which both I'm very passionate about, but it has limited energy relating to time, and Saturn can link to time. So all of us collectively have had these really heavy pressure points in the area of Pisces, and that's quite not going to go away yet, but it will benefit us in the long run. It's actually helping us create our dreams unbeknownst to us, but it has put a great deal of pressure on us. Depending on where it's been in your zodiac, for Libras, for instance, it's been to do with their daily routines and their habits. It's been the house of, it could have been pets and responsibilities, work, extreme work, burning the candle at both ends, health-related dynamics. So that's one example, but Saturn definitely has been putting a lot of pressure there. And at the moment, where is it sitting? It's sitting in Saturn, which is bones and teeth and stress. It's also sitting in Neptune, is our dream state, and where we become disillusioned and maybe second guess ourselves. And it's also currently in the house of Mars. So we're like, heck, when is this going to alleviate? And it is. We just need to see this through. So my empathy and love to you, I'll feel you. but it is making hard aspects. The other thing is the challenge within our wounds is that we are feeling that pressure point. And so old situations that have been our triggers personally can be coming up and is more intense because of the conjunctions. I mean, if you were to look at the chart, it literally looks like a Christmas tree. Whenever we hear conjunction, it's like, oh gosh, okay, here we go. It's almost like a smack in the face. So it's a lot, it's coming up, it's shifting, but it also can be huge breakthroughs. These can be breakthroughs we directly have, so we're no longer holding ourselves back in the area, which we will get into in a minute. So we are going to go down the rabbit hole. I've got the banners up on the screen. We are going to start with Aries. Okay? Is that okay? Are we okay with starting at Aries? How many Aries do we have in the air? Hands up for Aries. Aries, you guys rock. I feel so sorry for you. I feel sorry for you, okay? But you will thank the transits later. Whenever we have a first house and a seventh house in astrology, or a nodal return or a nodal reversal. And I tell you, when I was going down the rabbit hole to research nodal reversals, and those of you that don't know, don't stress. We're going to go into the important things. I will be making videos based on this, especially because I moved through that a few times. So I have gained perspective of how they play out. For you, Aries, this is quite big. Now, for your zodiac sign, because we do have the North Node in Aries, I did explain to a fellow Patreon, it's a little bit like, you guys, when your relationships are balanced, you are peachy pie. You are fabtabulous. And so what is Libra? The shadow sign of where the two nodal phases are, where the two eclipses are. You personally are having a massive transformation. So at this point in time, you could feel very burnt out. You could feel you're changing. You could feel like it's the Emperor's clothes. Your identity, your status can be changing. Could you be working your ass off at this point in time? 100% you could be. You also could be very, I would say, frustrated. So there's two risks because we can get the yin to the yang. For some of you, it could be that you are taking offense to everything that is happening. That's not saying you are. This is possibilities. The other thing is, you also can be rising above the challenges and facing your fears and confronting your demons. Now, the first house for you in the context, you suddenly could go from single to couple, couple to single. You could also be changing your status, and this can come in a myriad of ways. The way you show up, your physical image, your career status, your relationship status, how your friends see you. You are having a massive transition at this point in time. You also could have subjects to do with family coming up, and this can be a bit of a bugbear. So this could be subjects with your siblings. Anyone Aries in the house that can relate to this? And I'll check back on Instagram. I'll check back on YouTube. I haven't even opened Facebook, so I get the Facebook feed up here. There we go. Oh gosh, Ashley. Okay, so with the Aries energy, because it's moon, there can be subjects to do with you and your family having situations going on. You also could have a home-related dynamic coming up, and for you, how you feel about it. This could be, for some of you, a physical move of home. This also could be launching of new businesses. It could be home-based businesses. A lot of you can be changing your mind suddenly. It's like you thought you were going down a certain direction, and this month you could decide you're going in a different direction. The other thing you could find is, yes, there is the risk because Pisces is transiting your 12th house. It can work in two ways. It can make your physical dreams come true. It also could be a lot to do with psychology. It could be fears to do with new beginnings. And so if you're having to confront these and it's putting pressure on you, 12th house is a very interesting house. I can say with Saturn, Neptune, and Mars being there, be careful of your head during this time. You can accidentally bump your head. You also could get headaches. There could be your eyes that need checking. And this is not medical advice. These are things that are potentials astrologically can happen. Always seek a professional. 12th house can be linked to psychic energy. It also can be houses of incarceration, imprisonment. So it can be paranoia. It also can be paranoia. Habits as well can link to the 12th house. But again, it's almost like it's more these pressure points that you're psychologically owning. Once you let them go, you're free. You're moving to the first house. And that's what's coming between now and next year. So if you're confronting those demons, this is an opportunity for you to be a whole person, to attract everything you desire. But definitely, you need to be very gentle with yourself during this time, because you can find, Aries, that these signatures at the moment can be causing a lot of pressure. You can feel very worried. You can feel very concerned. There could be a transition that you are going through, that if you are stuck in a rut relating to a job, it might have been a bit of a shake-up, and you could be thinking outside the box. You actually could be saying, look, is this really resonating for me? Do I need to move jobs right now? Is this job really, something that is a good fit for me? Now, the thing is with jobs, if you are going back to your comfort zone, because the South Node's in Libra, what you can find is that contract. It's better to sign a contract towards the end of the month or May. The other thing is, you're also going to find you will be going into more managerial roles. So this can be, again, launching home-based businesses, you physically being a manager, taking on a more senior role. You also could be doing things for your family or for free, and you need to be careful in that area. There could be a change that's happening in that area, but I definitely see potentials of career transitions that are coming through, and they are going to be positive. This can be a very financially positive year for you. So if you've really been pushing through and trying to get those things done, this could be a time that you could see those breakthroughs. Leo, like I mentioned, this can be a very testing time for you. Is because as a Leo, you are Sun. So generally, I would say, because the eclipses are back to back, this could have been an intense portal for you. This could have been a very intense few months. Now, it's not going to remain that way, and this signature is bringing about big change. Sometimes it's like we have to have blind faith with these circumstances. This can be a really great time to journal. I definitely would say try to be in your awareness, try to be in your body during this time. And this can be about anchoring and feeling grounded, dealing with the energy in a different way, especially if you're in that self-awareness and you're feeling stressed or agitated. Remove yourself from environments if you can. Would I go out of the lunar eclipse for particular zodiacs? Probably not, but we can't hide forever, right? This can be a time when there can be a lot of things that are coming up in the media in the next week. But for you as an individual, what I say, let's have a look. There could be new contracts coming up. There could be a conversation that you need to have. I think in the way you're communicating, eating, your nutrition is changing. Some of you could be getting a new car. If you are doing such, I will probably wait till May. Your routine also can be changing, and subject some relationships surrounding siblings. Now, the big change you're going to have is what you're wanting to achieve in your life. And again, I will say house. Some of you, you're wanting to attain a home. Some of you, what you're going to find is where you're living is too small for you. Because this is very Jupiter in nature. So you can find that the house in which you're residing, it's not suiting your purposes. Some of you could be moving in with a sibling. Some of you could be moving because of a sibling. Again, I do see it acting like a Jupiter energy, but it's like you're working hard to achieve the goal. I can see that that is going to be a success, but the pressure that you're putting on yourself, what you're going to need to do is understand this is going to be a more manageable situation. So what do I mean by this? Generally speaking, in a transit between these eclipse points and with the next moon, you could have a sudden move of home, Okay, that's because the next moon's going to be Scorpio. So for you, you could have a move of home regardless. This could be coming up sooner rather than later, or it could be a decision around that can be shifting at that time. There could be a person moving in, a person moving out, something happening with the mother energy that could be occurring. However, for your big long-term goals, be it it's a home-based business, it's a physical purchase of a house, I do see there is a potential for you taking the steps, but also needing to do it in more bite-sized pieces. It's almost like I'm hearing with these ecliptic points, Rome wasn't built in a day. So it's about going into it without putting the critical pressure on yourself. It's about having courage to move through the storm. It's about implementing gradual slight changes, but also having luck involved in it, you know, pouring your energy into things. The other thing is we are going to become more energetic as the month proceeds. However, that signature is not going to remain. Mars wants to move things forward. It wants to get things done. So my recommendation to everyone would be don't bite off more than is manageable. You're better off to assess it in your tide zone, and because that can be a consistent, then in the kind of high vibe zone where you're having all that burst of energy like you're at the gym. Think about the middle point. That's where you want to maintain it. That's where you're going to get your success. So definitely for those goals, be it it's moving, travel, education, taking on a more senior role, relationships going to the next level. Ninth house also can be litigation, but something will be closing, something new will be opening. But overall, I do see this to be a very positive energy for you, Leo. Sagittarius, interesting times, my friend, especially because between now and next month, we are going to have Jupiter moving signs. Very exciting. You also are going through quite a personal transformation at this point in time. Okay, lots of pressure has been coming from home. This could have been moving home. It could have been family-related dynamics. It might have been mother energy. It also could be to do with fertility. But again, I'm feeling more family, siblings, home, physical environment, moving. Strictness, rigidity, a dream, something to attain that you're really putting that energy to, especially for those of you, if you were running home-based businesses or dealing with children and tribe. There's also, you know, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, Mars in Pisces. You can find you're trying to be everything to everyone. So this pressure point can really be causing a lot of conflict. And you can be pushing back. Remember what the Sabian symbol was. We can be moving into, you know, using pacifiers, tapping out, putting our head in the sand, hoping it'll pass. But these pressure points coming up for a reason. They're here to us for us to address it. They're also causing a lot of a backbone for you. This also can be, I'm just going to warn you, a very fertile time. We have the fifth house activated. With this eclipse, we do have fifth house. So you may be feeling, I want to have more fun. This could be a time where you may actually conceive. This can be very creative as well. This could be a time in which, and I'm just going to say, the fifth house is an interesting one. A lot of times people can talk about the fifth house of being an affair, but it also can be getting the passion back in a connection, bringing the passion back and the romance back, having the fun back in a connection. If you have been on the rocks with this circumstance, be it it's a person, a twin, a physical current relationship, there is going to be a transition with this. This also could be some tension points and some creative projects that you're wanting to launch. And I do see you moving into being more assertive. This can be with your children. It can be with your romantic partner. If you are in a toxic relationship, you could feel the spark is dead. Could you work with it? Yes, you could, but you may find that this has been a signature that's been going on from last year. For some, yes, this can be the hay that breaks the camel's back. For some, not all. Could it be resolved? Yes. Some of you may choose that you feel this isn't resonating with you. I need to step back from this. You also could be having wounds relating to the inner child during this time, but there definitely is a new chapter here. And this is in a sense of relating, in a romantic sense, in the hobbies that you do and the pastimes. It also can be habit breaking. big habit-breaking situations can crop up at this time. Cancer, I'm going to take a quick sip of my drink because it's going cold. Such a parent. You know a parent when they're happy to drink cold beverages, don't you? How many parents are in the house? And if you're not, lucky you. We have become accustomed to drinking cold beverages. Hi, Ben. How are you, my beautiful friend? It's been a while since we've done some webinars. Cancer, and tell me in the chat, how these are relating and have these things popped off? Where's this popped off? Okay, Cancer. For you guys, bloody heck. Okay, number one is you guys are moon point blank zero. So every moon affects you, it shifts you, it transforms you. You are always evolving, I would take offense to the memes out there that say Cancer's emotional. I mean, if I had every signature of a moon affecting me, damn straight, I would be pretty emotional. And I do have moon in Cancer. So, yeah, this transit's going to be fun. Okay, so with the Cancer moon, I would say either side of the ecliptic point and the eclipse occurring, it could be intense. You could feel very burnt out at this point in time. Some of you are needing to drink more fluid. All of us during this time to keep your hydration up. Now, hydration sometimes is not going to occur if you are not having electrolytes. Gauge it. You could be drinking till the cows come home. If you're not hydrating with minerals or electrolytes, you'll find you're kind of not doing much at all. So gauge if you're needing such. And again, do what you with that information as you will. So electrolytes, keeping our hydration, keeping our nervous system balanced, eating fatty acids to actually help us cope with stress levels. You may have had with the previous eclipse subjects, and again, this is still going to come up during the Aries eclipse because these ecliptic points are making a whole conversation. So what happens is the North Node, which is Aries, which is coming up, inadvertently changes the South Node. Because the South Node is where we become comfortable. It's like, yeah, that's good enough. It's like, no, we can do better than that. So what comes in? The North Node. And because of the way we're transforming, which all of you, I guarantee, if you look back to who you were in 2020 and you were to sit there honestly in the mirror, you would say, good grief, I'm not the same person now. Your ideals, your needs, your desires, your pastimes of what you enjoyed, it's all changed. We collectively have changed. So this portal is about honoring that. This portal is about looking at those things and going, okay, what is my new north? What is my new direction? Who is this new person that I'm kind of coming to the table with them and desiring to move forward with some goals? So for you, Cancer, you do have big links to home and family and how you relate. You also could be saving for a home. You also may be thinking about transforming, upgrading, renovating, wanting to be home a bit more, wanting to change those things. If you are dealing with home-based business, you may be doing these things differently. You're changing the way you're doing things. We also are needing, with Saturn in Pisces, fun. Have we heard that word straight? Fun. Because Saturn is very rigid. And we are needing to look at ways we can have fun as well as play hard, work hard. We need to find balance. So with your fourth house, subjects to do with the past, to do with children, to do with the way you manage business, to do with where you lived and how it was, and mother energy and parenting energy and our inner emotions, honoring your emotions and how they've changed has been a potential of coming up. Your career zone is huge at this point in time. For some of you, you could be doing 2 jobs. You could be doing a home job. You could be doing an art job. You also may be working very hard. You could move to a superior role. There also could be issues to do with home and family, love and work, creating triggers and problem points. The other thing I would say is you are going to be having new chapters happening in your career zone. There could be some colleagues that are leaving. There could be some changes happening there. But whatever you're doing in this multi-zone area, it is going to create balance, but there could be a necessity and a need for change. This could be suddenly leaving a job. This could be exiting a job. But trust me, whenever we have these portals, this is what I said to my sister, because we were talking about portals and, what the potentials are. For, so like I said previously, Leos could suddenly be, leaving a house. And so the individual at that point in time when that happens is going, oh, good grief, what do I do now? Well, the lucky thing is, whatever ends, there's always a door ready and open for the next stage. So don't get scared. If suddenly something has exited your life, it is because the universe is making room, and the signature in astrology generally means you have luck on your side for that new chapter to come. Okay, so don't get scared if something to that degree happens. Something more suitable is being replaced, or you're being upgraded and changing. Scorpio. How are you doing, Scorpios? How many Scorpios do we have in the house? Do we have some happy Scorpios in the house? I bet they're having a bloody great time. We've got to get to the end of the transit, Sentinella. Scorpios, right. What conundrum have we got here? Number one, Mars is up your grill like no tomorrow, okay? You're Scorpio. It's Mars. Aries and Scorpios, we could all just hang out. We could be like, you know what, this sucks, right? This is pretty intense. Or you could be going, this is like hitting the gym and having a tough burnout. It's like, we're pumped, let's go. Except this is extreme. This is going from, 0 being medium. And it's, have you guys noticed the frequency? I'm asking with people. I'm like, have you felt that? Oh, that was pretty heavy. It's like these bursts of energy are coming through in us. Heart chakra, definitely we need to care for during eclipses. That's all individuals, especially those of you that have ticky, what's. If you feel something's off, straight off the bat, go to seek medical professional care, because these portals with eclipses can heighten that. And that's why I say, always be very mindful. So Scorpio, very intense. Your axis of what's going on can be to do with, first I'll talk about Libra in the axis and then come back to the place of where Aries is. And I'm doing this from a chart. Okay, emotionally speaking, there could have been a subject where you were scared of an ending. Now, the 12th house of Libra was sitting there for you. This can be great creative ideas, psychic downloads, interest in astrology. But it's in the South Node, so some of your perceptions are shifting. Maybe some of your beliefs and fears you're challenging. Maybe some work you've been doing on yourself, be it you've been going to a coach or you've been going to a practitioner. You have been going to a therapist, whatever that is. It's going to aid you moving forward. Some of you could be thinking about this at this point in time. Could that benefit me at this point in time? Is this something I could actually look at? This also can cause paranoia. We can have situations from the past that we feel are coming back, but they are coming back to be changed. They're not coming back the same. They're different. But again, when we have a wound, what happens? We get worried that something's going to repeat. So, for instance, if we were to touch the stove and we burnt our hands, we subconsciously would create a signature within the ego that was hurt, and it was like, whoa, man, that was hot. And we don't want to touch that stove again, right? We're not going to do that the same way. So when we have the 6 senses activated, it's going to take you back to that moment. And it's like you're in a simulation. So the 12th house can be the house of imprisonment psychologically. So we can get very scared, especially if we have a similar dynamic happening again. It's like, oh, heck, it's going to be the same. The key to it, to break that chain, is actually to relate to it differently. So it's, how can I move into this and react differently so I can have a different outcome, and it doesn't have to be the same again moving forward. So this can be a very positive time for you to break chains. And it also can be sort of one of those experiences with the 12th house where you have the courage to do something, and you're like, heck, I'm going to do this. I'm going to break these chains, and I'm going to move beyond fear. I'm not going to let this chastise me anymore. Now, the eclipse in Aries, which is a huge portal for you, is a brand new chapter, and it is going to change the way you think about yourself, the way you get stuck. It could challenge you initially. It could bring these things up. This could be to do with your patterns and habits. It could be to do with working too hard. How much work are you doing? Are you doing too much? Can you find that work-life balance? This could be diet, nutrition. It could be, again, a subject to do with pets, wanting to get a pet at this point in time. Thinking, is that a good idea? Should I, shouldn't I? This can be to do with also us being the enemy in circumstances, creating healthy boundaries, knowing who we can trust, having these brand new chapters. So I feel you're going to be getting into a routine. For some of you, it can be that you're wanting to have the dream body. It could be that you're saying, you know what, I'm going to do something about it. And, it's, a lot of times it's not just the physical appearance. It's also what's going on emotionally. I remember, over the years of fluctuating with weight, I've been everything to a very large to a very small. And the one thing I can say consistently that I've understood is it's all in here. So a lot of times when we do clear that frequency in here, this doesn't resonate. This is just a vessel. So we do get to this very peaceful space inside ourselves. We learn to have that inner love, and it's just a vessel, really. It's like a vehicle we're driving, but it's more than when we do go to that, say we're going to a gym or we're being careful of the nutrition we're using and what we're doing with it. We are cautious about what we're putting in because it's a fuel resource over, I want to look hot. Do you get what I'm saying? So take it in the context of how it lands directly in your individual situation. It could be that you want to be a supermodel, just an example. Now, how else can this play out? You could be taking on a physical new contract. You could be feeling as though you want to get into more balance. You could feel that you have the world on your shoulders. You may need to gain a different perspective. You could be more assertive with people with their expectations. You might be creating some boundaries. This also could be, you also could be wondering, and I don't know why I'm getting this, but this could be to do with spiritual connections. Was the person interested in me or weren't they? Okay. Am I just up in my head dreaming this shit, or was it really real? And I think it's about actually communicating. I think it's about asking the pivotal questions to these individuals, getting the correct messages. Your dream states also can be giving you a lot of information, but I do think that there is some change that is happening, especially when it does come down to how people directly are impacting you in connections, relationships, contracts and partnerships. Are you moving into positive environments? Are you deciding just, okay, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm moving in a different direction. I'm moving towards individuals that are more accepting to me. And it could be that the hat that you wear in certain energies and certain areas, you're just wearing a different hat for each situation. Does that make sense? So that could be some advice moving forward. But I definitely do see this could also be a time that if you feel something is off, the sixth house can be a good time to have a checkup, to make some changes. You could have some breakthroughs. And this can be where you have a lot more energy after you have dealt with some particular circumstances that have been blocking you, but it can be a brand new chapter. Oh, on to the next zodiac sign. I hope that helps. And I will answer any last questions at the end of these slides. For those of you individual that maybe want to ask a few quickies, we can answer some of the questions. How many zodiacs do we have in the house at this stage? Love to hear from you. So Pisces, this has been an interesting couple of years for you guys. We've had Saturn and Neptune there. The eclipse for you could be making you feel very tired. We also do have Mars sitting in your sign. This could be that you feel you have a lot more energy or you feel flat out burnt out. Okay, it can go either way at this point in time. You also could feel more irritable. Okay, yes, I would say more irritable. Okay. For you, if you are in a relationship, there can be some circumstances, previous eclipse to this eclipse we're moving into, which I'll discuss. We have the eighth house. So the eighth house can be tax, debt, sex. It can be the other person's money if you're in a physical relationship. It can be situations happening within their family. It could be like their mother, their father, their siblings, inheritances on their side, a relative that has been maybe unwell on their side. But there's definitely changes there. It is the South Node. And so there can be some changes that are happening between the joint wealth you have. Now, if you are single, you spiritually could be thinking, okay, I have a different need inside of my relationships now. What I want to bring into my life is someone who's coming in that is willing to build with me, somebody who, wants to have a very deep connection and share their resources and move together with me as a team. So the signature is still going to come through and it's going to attract that to you. But it can be also that for some of you, it can be a very, it's about looking at the intimacy. Some of you could be feeling that eighth house energy needs to change. Now, as it moves to the next sector with this eclipse, I can say a lot of you can feel bogged down like everything's on your shoulders. You may not express yourself. This is a transit, and this was an issue where, looking after your health, your nervous system has been deeply important for your zodiac sign, as well as using vices to deal with stress, or maybe just emotionally, naturally, because you are an empath energy, you absorb a lot of these feelings and you take a lot on your shoulders. So these circumstances can bog you down. As within, as without, some of these things can come up, and these can be deep revelations and conversations you can be having with individuals. And I do get that some of you are on that kind of cusp of making a major change and a major decision. I do see that there is going to be a lot more confidence. Now, you may need to be a little bit careful during this time, because what we can find is, for some of you, you may find that your throat chakra is very active. It can be off. You can be feeling a bit chesty, throaty, I would say. You also could be aggro. Okay, this can cause frustration with people not respecting your boundaries. The other thing I can say is this can be generating new wealth. This can be an opportunity for you to open a door. You may have been paying a lot of money out recently, and you could have been thinking, bloody hell, what I've got coming in, it's coming in and it's going out. How is this happening? When am I going to get back on an even keel? Now, for some of you, this could be lucky lottery wins. For some of you, this could be a pay increase. You also may be looking at your physical assets you own right now. You could be wanting to replace things. This is a time where you could have a washing machine that breaks down, or an electrical device. You could be doing renovations on a home. But again, I feel some of you also could just get to a stage you go, right, I want to buy a house. I may want an investment property. I might want to sell a house. You also could be dealing with who you can depend on in your workplace. Do you stay? Do you go? Are you getting paid commission? Are you getting paid what you're worth? What do I want to transfer here? You're making a lot of decisions. I also feel with all energies in your life, you're going. There's a difference between being assertive and losing our cool. And I think the dis-ease, is almost the element of what the problem is. So it could be a good time for you to journal, but I do think there can be a breakthrough. Some of you also might be looking at wanting to change your image. So this could be anything down to teeth or beauty treatments. I would probably well and truly do these things. If any of you are deciding to do anything to this degree, beauty, plastic surgery, or anything like that, try and do it away from Mercury retrograde and the eclipse. That's because you won't get the outcome you desire. And with Mars, it inflames things, it swells things. The healing process during a Mercury retrograde can be longer. You'd want to wait till the transits go direct, or follow a practitioner's advice, because I am a professional. Now, on to Libra. Oh, heck, that's me. Well, it's kind of me, because I've got 12 houses in our chart. So how many Libras do we have in the house? I'll check on Instagram. I'll check on Facebook. That's okay. Stick around and I'll answer your questions. Hi, Adam. How are you? Adam, I want to give you a big shout out. You have no idea how proud of you I am. I'm so proud of you, Adam. I had this most beautiful experience. I was feeling I think over the years of being on YouTube, I was on Facebook for about 10 years. And I was giving away free readings, and so it's always when you're doing things for free, everyone loves you. Always the way, but we do need bread and butter, and it's something that keeps everyone going in the algorithm. Otherwise, how do we pay our bills? So I had about 10,000 subscribers. I was working full time and I was giving free readings away. And then I transitioned with one client. I couldn't get this reading done for them, and more psychic channeled messages. So I got onto doing a video. I was like, I'll just do a video for them. It'll be so much quicker, because I'd get home after a day of work, and I'd be like, all these psychic downloads would come, and I'd get these messages, and I'd be typing, hundreds upon hundreds of words, and I'm like, dude, I've got to go to bed. So I got onto YouTube and I created the video. And then my girlfriend goes, oh, why don't you start doing a YouTube channel? And so this channel did grow to 10,000. And then Facebook dropped down to under 2. It's like it kind of transitions. And then the algorithm started playing up around 2019, which you ask any YouTuber, they know it's there. And so we're just having to do things differently. But through all my years of coaching, and when I was going into that Aries victim conscious energy, that a lot of us have felt quite bogged down. Like, we want to get onto that target. We need to get these goals done. I had all these synchronistic messages from long-time customers and followers. And Adam and I have known each other for a great deal of time. And we met through a beautiful soul friend that used to be on YouTube here. And I have coached him as a friend, as a subscriber, and he's just really accelerating. So those of you who have been here for the longest time, it is like family. Definitely did reach out to a couple of Patreons over the last few weeks, especially if I do see there's an earthquake somewhere or there's something happening. A lot of my subscribers do become long-time, lifetime friends, and I'll jump on Skype and I'll message and say, hey, what's going on over there? Are you taking care? And I think that's the beauty of community. So I just wanted to shout out and say to Adam, bloody proud of you, mate. He got an award and he's done ever so good for himself, and I'm just very, very proud of him. So we're going to look at Libra. Let's look at Libra and what's happening with Libra. Okay, Libra, for you, my dolls, this is, some individuals have been going, I'm telling you, they're going to separate, or, it's, you're going to divorce. You're going to lose your job. There's a change. I believe universe gives us 3. Everything in life is 3. It's the Trinity. And this can be for Aries and Libra as well. So I don't have another. Do I have another one? Do I have another crystal? I've got pens. Top professional video, eh? Okay, so everything comes in 3. So Libra. For you, the old you reader aura is dead and gone. And you could be feeling really odd. You could be like, you know what? I want new hair. I want tattoos. I want more balance. I don't resonate with my clothes. I don't resonate with the image I'm projecting. That's not who I am anymore. This isn't me. I'm not me anymore. I'm not that person. So this can link to so many areas for the previous eclipse. First instant of the eclipse. So we get these signatures. We get the acknowledgement of a situation. We then get a near miss. And then if we don't do anything about it and we want to remain the same, we get the Tower moment. That causes the brand new beginning regardless. Anyone experience that? And it's for us. So we might have this feeling of, I keep being someone I'm not, but I'm not that person. And then the pressure points come, and then you're like, that's interesting. No, that's really not who I am. That's not who the new me is. And then you get the Tower moment. You've got to make a choice, so we're going to take it from you, so you have to be. And so that is a circumstance that can be coming up with you, Libra. You personally are changing. It could be at the moment, especially with Saturn, you're looking after your health. You're finding that managing circumstances and stress levels. Sometimes you may need to move back. You were the one at risk between Libra and Aries, both of you, did have the risk of physical burnout this year because Saturn has been up in your grill in the 6th house, working you like a dog, working you to the bone, to the point you are trying to be successful. You also may have had healing and recovery that you've been trying to move through over the last few years. It could have been your teeth, it might have been your bones, it could have been a health situation. And you might have made some radical decisions that you want to change your image. Now, how could that have come through? It might have been in the status of your business. It might have been in the status of a relationship or with a friendship group or at work. It could have also been the physical image. So again, I will mention plastic surgery or hair color changes. It also is an internal thing. It's not just an external thing. Your attitude, the way you communicate, your physical status, physical status. What could we talk about? We could talk about a status within work. It could be a status within a job, appearance, physical appearance. So that's going to be going through a change. And for me, how it showed up was, it was more to do with the vibration of feeling very tight. So I was like, you know what? I literally am burning the candle at both ends. I love YouTube. I love my client consults. I love my other job. I still have to clean my house. How do I manage all of this? And, you know, also feeling in a subconscious way, wow, if I don't get this right, everything's going to fall down. And it was really sitting back and going, okay, who is the real version? What is the image of the website? What is the image of YouTube? And this is an example as a Libra. Who is the new me? Am I feeling that I've lost my way? And it was dietary changes I found. I was drinking extra fluid, and it was slight dietary changes that were going to help my finance. They were going to help my body. They were going to give me more sleeping time, more structure and routine. The other thing is with this eclipse, it is to do with this can be you changing your marriages, contracts, partnerships, how you relate to people. You also, Libra, I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. Sometimes we can feel it's happening to us, but sometimes it's us happening to them. We can become understanding, and what we're trying to all collectively find is the middle ground, you know, and Libra always wants the middle ground. But this instant is very much acting like Libra with Aries energy involved. So what is that going to look like? I understand and empathize with people, places, and things, but I also have my own needs. So it's about finding that middle ground. And it is compromise, but it's not. It's almost like saying, well, I'll bend over backwards, but will you bend over backwards for me? It's not tit for tat. It's finding a balance, okay? So you can get to a space where you have to be honest with yourself. My boyfriend has been extremely focused finding a new barber and focusing on health, diet adjustments. He also been working nearly 7 days. I've been trying to make everything to take care of the home. Yeah. You will find, Ashley, for them, that pressure point with Saturn is going to be there till it moves into Aries, but it's setting them up for structure. So it's sort of like we spiritually are doing a short-term burn to restructure and build that is going to set us up for a lifetime. So the sacrifices we're making in those areas, all of us collectively, is going to help us future tense. So there can be teeth changes, there can be bones, there can be muscles being built, there can be the person wanting to hit the gym, and Libras always were going to be changing quite a bit. It's interesting because when we do look at Libra, for instance, some people can think of a celebrity that is a Libra, and it's interesting, you really need to look at the 12 houses. Kim Kardashian actually has Pisces placements in her chart, yet technically Libra. So we do have the 12 houses. How we're going to relate to that circumstance and where it hits is going to be, pretty unique in this element. So there can be a change in status. It can be that you're wanting to change the way we are working in particular areas. How can we restructure businesses? How can we restructure how we're working? It could be that in the working domain, that certain individuals are transitioning. We also could have co-workers that It could be a friend because it's marriages, contracts, partnerships. It could have been in the last few months moving into this month. There might have been some healing and maybe some individuals we knew that transcended over with Saturn and Pisces. But this can be a brand new beginning in a marriage, contract, or partnership, in a physical connection, in the assertive energy of how the person relates to it. If there has been a conflict, you can find that this circumstance can peak. Old situations can crop up in connections where you're renegotiating the terms or going down memory lane. There can be a bucking of heads of individuals that are in relationships with either an Aries or a Libra, or point blank zero with those placements. But it's coming to that balance point where we can understand the pressure's building up. Everyone's experiencing it. How can we meet that neutral ground? I mean, if it was an incredibly toxic relationship, both the Libra and an Aries has possibilities of exiting stage. This can be of a marriage contract or a partnership, but it also can be transforming it, and the way we create those boundaries become the more authentic self. I know for me, the one thing that was coming up is, heck, Rome wasn't built in a day, which has been a huge blessing to me, for me to actually go, take the pressure off, take everything down to a bite-sized piece. How can I still achieve the goals, but in a more structured manner? So I think if we implement that, it's actually going to be a hell of a lot more balanced. So I hope that relates and lands. Big breakthroughs. The other thing I can say for Libra, we'll just quickly mull over it very quick. You may wrap up an old debt this month. If something has been bugging you and you're wanting to wrap it up, this also can be you with your family. There could be a lot of family members, Libra, that are coming up towards you and wanting some added support. And I also see there's a possibility of really changing the way you are dealing with wealth and money. This can be confidence, wealth, money, eating habits, the way you're articulating your feelings, the way you're creating boundaries. And yes, the blast from the past can be coming back. Aquarius, big changes for you guys. Now, this was linking to your third house. Now, the third house for Aquarius, and this has been a long time coming. Aquarius, you guys had Pluto transiting through your 12th house, and that had been quite hard. It moved out of that place. We then started having the eclipses. So this is quite a young energy for you, being at 0 degrees. Pluto is sitting there, and Mars is really quite similar to, it's almost like, the Plutonian energy is the internal, the Mars energy is the external. So you're looking at both your internal life and your external, and you're trying to harmonize both of them. You also might have found, from a financial point of view, you have wanted to really save. You have felt the penny pinch. You have felt you needed to change things. You also may have felt, from an emotional point of view, that there was confidence-related dynamics that potentially were coming up. I do see the sacrifices you're making are going to come back to you in benefits. It's short-term. You could be making big plans so that you actually can have brand new beginnings. And it's like you're actually putting your money where your mouth is. So I feel you're making those sacrifices to make a dream come true. I would say during this time, be very, very careful driving. I feel that conversations can be life-changing. A contract coming in can be life-changing. A telephone call that can be coming in can be life-changing. This also can be, if people are attacking you, you're pushing back and you're asserting yourself. I also feel if there's any conflict where it does come to a physical, this could be this is not legal advice, but it could be, say, somebody is trying to take you to court, for instance. Mars attribute of things that can be going in your favor, but you can feel sort of like, hey, hang on a minute, I need that boundary, I need that protection. So, this will be a good time to read over your physical contracts. Great time during Mercury retrograde to actually keep your home secure. Document, look over your paperwork, update your passwords, physically locking your car, driving and being aware of your surroundings, updating your insurances if they're there. But this can be a physical start It can be through word of mouth. Somebody is giving you something that's really going to aid you moving forward. And I do think you're going to have a lot of allies. This feels very positive. There could be a new chapter relating to a physical sibling. There could be a change happening in that individual's life. And from the secondary signature of Libra, some of you also might have felt that you needed to go back to school and do something different. This could be taking on a more senior role further tense. You also may find that adventures and travel have really, your pastimes may have changed now. Things that you didn't get to do, you're wanting to return to. Things that you had dreamed about. Some of you may end up again wanting a bigger home. And this could be coming through in the months ahead. This also can be coming up sooner than you think. I do also see career transitions very strongly this month. So wherever that pressure's coming from, I do see the signature of a huge change. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. My boyfriend has been extremely focused on finding a new barber and focusing on health and dietary. So, Elma, you're looking for, okay, looking at other jobs, have a problem with my boss. So I went through burnout off work until June. Looking for a new job. I was working hard. I'm trying to keep positive. What zodiac are you again, Elma? Are you Aquarius? What else can I see in the Aquarian chart? We will go very shortly, Aquarius. There you go. So, this is a brand new chapter, okay? This is a brand new chapter for all Aquarians, and I'll call it the same situation, Rita Ora, the old Jews dead and gone. You guys had Pluto in Capricorn there for about, I would say, 11 years. This transit's going to be longer, but it's happening in your first house, which means for you, if you felt bogged down, scared of changes, almost psychologically stuck, like this is what I've got to do, I've got to keep on the straight and narrow, it's very Saturn in nature. This is for you, the 20 years to come is a massive window for you to make changes. If you second guess yourself, universe will push you. They will push you and you will be grateful after. They will show you what is not working for you anymore. They will show you what doesn't. This can be down to your image. It can be down to what you put up with, what's hidden inside that you want to express. All of you is going to change. You could be going into suddenly wanting to wear makeup, suddenly not wanting to, but it's very image changing. Financially, that pinch is going to shift. It is because Saturn is transiting through your second house. Some of you could be saving for, it could be for a holiday. It could be for a project. It could be for a wedding. Whatever that saving is, whatever that pinch in that second house is, it's for a reason. It's also eliminating individuals that you cannot depend on. So we do look to the second house as a place that could be sort of like reference points and professional resources. So the key could be looking back to those individuals, brushing up our resumes and seeing who we directly can depend on. And there can be a lot of people who are on your side. There can be a lot of people who, do have your back. And so that's a very positive thing. It's about knowing where to get those blessings. But at the moment, you can find in that Saturn area, it's about saving. It's about restricting. It's about, holding things back. This also can be keeping secrets. It could be not going down the rabbit hole of overspending on, physical items. You could be waiting. Your value also in homes can be increasing during these times. Now, contract signing, interestingly enough, this can be coming through very soon. So if you were waiting on a contract, a piece of paper, a letter, a document, information, something to go in your favor, a hearing, This also can be coming up near this eclipse or through this eclipse portal. Some of you could be getting a new car. If you do want to get a new car, I have told so many people this and they so never listen. It is better, although Mars technically isn't in a Mercury sign. If you are looking for a sporty car, if you are looking for a tank, this could be like a big rig, four-wheel drive, because it's Mars. It's something that's fast, whatever it is, because Mercury is retrograde. It still can affect it's almost like, and this is one of these things I probably shouldn't tell you. Mercury retrograde is a seller's market. It is not a buyer's market when it comes to technology. Because what will happen is you miss something because Mars, you're thinking too quickly, you're being pushed too quick, you're in a hurry, you're not going to read the contract, there's hidden details, or you might forget to file some paperwork, and so they can cause delays. But what can happen in the process of purchasing a vehicle can be you buy a lemon. And so it can be a bit of a dud car, it can have problems, it might not have the insurances and things like that. So there can be technical issues that can go on with it. Gemini. Beautiful Geminis. How many Geminis do we have in the house? Do we have any Geminis? So, yeah, if any of you wanted to sell a car, get rid of a car, hold on to the bloody thing. Next month, we have Jupiter moving into Gemini, and a lot to do with cars is going to come up. And that can be changing things. So just hold on to your hats. Big changes next month with cars. My prediction, cars, travel, big changes. More than likely, we will see it through, I would say, mid-month. We'll start seeing it because already we have seen signatures of the eclipse, which we can talk about those as well. So, Gemini, for you. Okay, you may have had a lot of old feelings resurface relating to romances. There also could be a person from the past coming back. You also, from a creative sense, might find that some of your pastimes you're just not enjoying. Your relationship with your children can be changing for those of you that have children. This also can be circumstances in their life. They may project onto you at this point in time. I try not to take it personal, to kind of digest it as constructive criticism. You also could be second-guessing projects and creativity in the direction in which you're going. This also can relate to romance or physical business aspects. Some of you could want to get onto a health kick, and this can be from a holistic point of view, needing to be more balanced, needing to maybe get a checkup for something that's, outdated or old. This can be fem checks, especially for females. Oh, okay. You guys are balancing both the 10th and the 11th house. So what do I mean by that? Saturn has been putting pressure on you to do things in a more traditional sense. Yet the 11th house is more the innovator, the sole trader, the business owner, the management, the entrepreneur. These can be also big plans, big investments. This isn't really the time for speculative things. Maybe a little lotto ticket here and there, but not necessarily risky business. This is about trying to find the shoe a deal. So I do see for you, for some of you, you could be working 2 jobs. There is something to do with pressure points happening in work at the moment. Some of you could be working too hard. Some of you are trying to find balance between work and home, work and love. I do see crosswires, but you also could say that the person that you're directly romantically involved with or interested in could be going through a lot of changes. You also could be frustrated because some of you could want this to happen a hell of a lot quicker than it is. You may need to be patient with this. Mars, especially from a feminine point of view, It can be the hunter-gatherer. It can be, if we were to look at Mars inside our chart, it's what we maybe have an expectation of within a romantic relationship, but it's actually something that we need to find in ourselves. So you could be angry at yourself for not being able to balance something at this point in time. But there also could be some tension points and a need of change. There could be some chemistry and spike and, change in hobbies, changes in the way that you're relating to each other. This also could be an opportunity for a blast from the past to come back. Mercury also for you, Gemini, is going to cause a bit of issues. I would say you will feel better as it does move direct, but this can be an opportunity. I'll just quickly go back to Gemini. This can be an opportunity for you to go up the corporate ladder. And I feel that's very positive. I feel there's some positive things coming. You also, around home-based businesses, could be making some major changes. You may also have a situation with a friend that's tying up. This could be quite an emotional situation. On to Capricorn. Now, beautiful Capricorn. With all these energies, it is quite intense. Saturn also has been putting pressure on us. You are naturally a Saturn-orientated zodiac sign. So you can be very traditional in your approaches and the things that you do. You're actually, generally speaking, quite a hard worker. You may have found that this was quite challenging because, universe has been asking you to do things differently. So many Capricorns, especially on the work spirit, can be that you've been doing things differently and it hasn't been working. And there can be some keys to why this isn't working. And I'll try to explain. Okay, for some of you, you do have income that can come through in a different way. Now, what do I mean by that? For some of you, if you are not working, the reason could be is because we're the South Node is position. So some of you, it might be that whatever industry you're in order for it to work, you need to do it differently because it's a South Node energy. The other thing is it might work better if you are physically working from a home environment, or you could be launching a home-based business. Money also can come to you in different areas linking to your chart. So this could come through by renting a home out. This could come through in selling a home. Again, moon energy. I also feel it's almost like you've got this pressure point. There could be some ancestry lineage things that you're cutting out spiritually. It's almost like baggage you've been carrying. I get this feeling that the changes to do, it's like you have this, more than likely, many of you are going to have this idea of what you want your home to look like. This could be physical retreats, creating a business on the side. It could be that you're wanting a big location where it's more like community. That could be where you want to move. That could be a physical piece of land that you buy. You also could want to have a very big family, everyone together like a big happy tribe. But in your income sector, I do see that you're wanting to make those changes, and Pluto is going to aid you doing that. During the eclipse, again, it's something to do with family and home. This can be a subject happening with mother that can tie up. Something to do with the home, if again, from the second house, you were wanting to transition and change it. Some of you are going to have changes around children, home, direct routine, what you've been doing. If you've been working from home, you could go out into the world. If you've been out in the world, you could be working at home. And some of you could be doing both. Some of you may need to travel because of family. There is going to be an ending and a new beginning. Again, some of you also could be looking at fertility, pregnancy, in a child energy, but I still feel it's home. You may have a lot around the home you're wanting to do. This could be cleaning up. It could be transitioning it. You also could have, during this time, crosswise with family and individuals. So you could be more intense during this time. And I think if you're aware of it, you're actually going to be more grounded. It's a bit like communicating your boundary and saying, look, I'm feeling off today. I'm not really in a talky mood. I need to move into my Zen space. So it could be that you're needing to create that space. But in the long term, what signature this is going to be can be a place in which you feel safe, a place in which you feel respected, uh, a place in which you can feel that you can move. And again, some of you also may need to do something in a physical sense. So if you have a lot of energy and you're feeling you've got nowhere to put it, you may need to use exercise to deplete some of that, because it can be building up and actually causing frustration. So this can be like a home gym. But I do see you moving through both situations. Now, communication for you could be a bit testing. This directly could impact relationships. Definitely see a transition with career. Look, some of you, I'm definitely seeing a potential that you can meet an individual in an industry you are working in. But I also feel there's a change in the way you're working. It's a change in the way you're changing what you feel your purpose is. You know, how you felt, I would say, even from last year to now has changed. So that relates to your relationships, your contracts, your partnerships. I do see big changes happening with home. So if something to do with home was something that you really wanted to launch, I would say for you at this point in time, Capricorn, I think this is a very positive time for you. Let's take a look at Taurus. Taurus, you know, I had a friend that called today and we were talking about this energy, and they actually were saying that this was, you know, really quite, how would I say, you know, really quite on point for these circumstances that were playing out. Now, let's go down the rabbit hole with this. Over the last few months, especially moving into this year, we've been moving to this point of the ecliptic. And this is because theoretically we are moving into a new lunar cycle. This is theoretically like the new year we're moving into from a lunar point of view. And these are new chapters. So we're supercharged. We're wanting to get things done. We're wanting to move forward. And we can see this frequency inside your chart that is going through a change. For many of you, you may have felt that there were changes going on within your employment, and you also within your intimate connections were transforming and changing. Stress levels and articulating things and feeling you needed to do things. Some of you might have felt that you were alone in doing things and the other person or the other individuals weren't understanding the pressure that you were going through. You also could be going through an absolute health kick and a detox. You might have wanted to get a pet. There could have been thoughts to do with a pet, but also re-looking at your life. Okay, am I ready for that? Do I want that commitment? You know, I'm very different. Some of you, if you had an ex that had a pet, you could be connecting in with them. You may be thinking about these things. This could be an anniversary also. Okay, you may be moving into a more superior senior role. Now, your zodiac sign, these are some big changes, and I really, really want to hone this into you. Do not underestimate yourself. You guys are made for bright things. There is a big change coming to your life. Now, Aries at the moment, this is crazy town. Aries in your 12th house. Where would I even start? Okay. If you have felt that there were things in your past that you weren't able to express to people and you've been at war in your mind about, 12th house can be where we need to get coaching, a counselor. It could be articulating it. It could be that we're scared. Is everything going to be okay? Because we're going to want a surety. For you at this point, I would definitely say, instead of it keeping it here, journal it. That's going to help you keep your mind clear. It's going to help you keep grounded. You may be second guessing yourself with a brand new chapter. Some of you also at the moment are having these big signatures, like you're wanting to make a real difference in the world. You might even be looking at careers that are very ironic and bizarre industries. Now, I'm not saying any one of these things are bizarre, but it seems to me through the vibration of who you used to be versus who you are right now, you're looking at things differently. And tell me if I'm incorrect. Some of you might be thinking that you want to get into the police field. Some of you could be thinking you want to get into psychology. These could be interests that you have. It could be that you have something to say to a person that you had a grievance with at some point in time. You want to be pursuing it further and clearing it so it no longer affects us. The other thing is you could be feeling that you want to get a farm for some of you. You might be wanting to get a large piece of property and you want everyone to come with you and you want everyone to be okay. This could be a general frequency where you feel that somehow it's your job to make sure that maybe family and tribe and everyone's okay and you have this image. It also could be that you have ideas for community or workshops or group-like sessions, ways that you view maybe governments and things like that could do things differently. So you could be having these huge shifts at this point in time. The other risk is with the eclipse in Aries is A, breakthroughs can occur, but B, like I said, where we were talking about the Sabian symbol, and this does link to particular zodiac signs, is we can accidentally, with the Sabian symbol, we can get very depressed. We can get disillusioned by the magic carpet. It's like, okay, take me to this magic land where no problems exist. And so escapism can come up, and that can come in the form of using pacifiers, and avoiding situations or, self-medicating and things to that degree. So with the 12th house, yes, that can happen. It doesn't mean to say that's what you're doing. But if you are suffering from confidence and fear and you're getting anxiety, it's about finding healthy ways to actually move beyond that. But I do feel for a lot of you, if you have something on your chest and you've kept it in your head, I feel you're going to find the words to say it. I feel whoever these individuals are, be it it's a person you're romantically entwined with, for some of you, I do see that there's been this access point. If something's balanced, it's going to continue. But if it's not, this is a point where you could be saying, look, I need to really be honest. I don't foresee this in my life moving forward. This is something I want to move away from. You can resolve it in a renegotiation sitting through these eclipses. There is a possibility, however, if you can't come to a medium ground, you may choose that you feel this isn't for you. But I definitely see some big changes in that area for you, Taurus. Yeah, I just see these huge industries. It is to do with human services, people. It could be a casino, it could be a restaurant, it could be a filmmaker. But I just see a transition of career. I definitely see. And the importance, it's almost like maybe even the things that you're going to be watching is going to be changing. So your common interest, but I see your health changing. I see you wanting to no longer be at war with your mind and be at peace. And you could actually be having these brand new beginnings quite suddenly. It could be mind blowing. So being in the 12th house doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can suddenly be eye opening where you have this revelation of what was blocking you and it was fair. And you have these brand new beginnings. I also do feel for some of you, you're going to be speaking your mind. But any habits you're going to be moving away from, this can be a great time to break a habit. This can be a great time to move into meditation. The meditation I'll probably do at the end of it. Also, this can link to past traumas relating to people having affairs or being deceitful towards you. It can be a closure point of it, and it can be an opening of a new beginning and healing. Virgo, I bet you guys are having fun. Mercury retrograde always messes with you guys. I empathize, okay? Let's see what's happening for Virgo, and then I'll answer a couple of questions in general terms. If you want to go into depth with things, please do come through and book a private rating, and then we can get into the grit and then the grit of it all. Okay, Virgo. Wow. Okay. A lot of you might have found that you're living differently. Your diet, your nutrition, the way you're communicating, your physical assets. You may be really changing the things that you find value in. You also may have changed an industry and a way that you are earning an income. For some of you, you could be using it from a more creative point of view, but there also from a romantic point of view might have been some changes that had occurred. You could be concerned about mother energy at this point, for those of you that do have a, in-house live mother here on this earthly realm. So it could be memories to do with mother. Oh, you're definitely this month going to have a conversation with someone. It's going to be very Plutonian, very, what would I say? Closing out a cycle. This could be a piece of paperwork. This could be a document that you're needing to address. Um, calling out the elephant in the room, but there's definitely, yes, could it be a car? I would definitely say this month, especially because you're a Mercury energy, because Mercury is retrograde, to very much be cautionary around the road for you, okay? That you and Aquarius definitely to be cautious on the road, Aries and Libra to be cautious on the road, because the energy is very intense. Your throat also could be going through a transformation. You can be getting a spiritual upgrade to do with your throat. You're finding your voice. You're finding the correct words. You could also be having some triggers about the past. Very, very common with this axis between Libra and Aries. You know that you may have felt like your love life, that it has been you being responsible, you being responsible. It's teaching you something. It is teaching you something. It's pressure, it's age, it's time. All of those things are coming out when it does relate to relationships. Pressure, time, life, could be retirement you're looking at, whatever it is. But there is some pressure. There is some pressure points, but it feels a little bit strict. Now, does this mean it's you? Not necessarily. It could be pushing you to the point you're needing to be. It could be creating a point in your life where you're feeling you're needing to be quite stern with individuals and straight. You are looking for something more traditional, as per se, even for some of you, something more dependable. But it's an interesting dynamic. I do see there can be a circumstance surrounding your romantic interest. This is if you are single, it is the person directly you are interested in communication with or in spiritual connection with. If you are out of a partnership, this also can be the financial things in life that you directly can depend on. What could that look like? I went down the rabbit hole with the eighth house. It's tax, debt, sex, legacies, inheritances. Old situations to do with that can come up. It also can be shared resources. This could be the wage that comes in. It could be Bitcoin. You get a commission from YouTube, maybe whatever that could be. It's an external thing. It's something that you can depend on, but you're reassessing those things. There can be a new stream of income coming into your life. It could be sort of like a savings plan and the commissions are coming through. There's something there that's coming to you in a new shape or form. If you were dealing with a situation in a romantic partnership and their income had been testing, their income had been going through pressures and it was putting more pressure on you financially, that can be transforming at this time quite radically. There also could have been a situation in their life to do with an individual that was unhealthy that they were dealing with. It was like ill or unwell. This also can look like if you were in a relationship and they were paying alimony to an individual and how it directly was going to impact you from a financial point of view, being entangled with them. Interesting dichotomy. Yeah, I really feel you're now where you're at, what you're looking for Could it be that your partner could be having an issue with a parent figure that maybe is transcending over, or that is a very toxic person, that is very projectile? This is a potential. This also can be a mother energy that is projectile. It can be that they're in a physical relationship. Separately, what I do see is what you're ushering into this brand new beginning is what you're going to be attracted to is building a lifestyle that you can depend on, that has your backup, that has, all the nuts and bolts working correctly. You're going to be attracted to individuals that can put into a connection with you, that can build with you. That comes down to working, that comes down to your friendship groups. Anyone who's linking in. You also, during this time, I'd be careful, because with the 8th house, we can have these very deep points that we push down and we don't articulate, and that is not healthy at all. You are going to need to address this. I think signatures of astrology, for instance, Mars being the planet of war, do we look at it and do the polar opposite of what it creates? I wouldn't say go to extremities, but I would say it comes up for a reason. Is there a necessity for us to be assertive in a particular area? I particularly feel so. Otherwise, why would we have the transits? For us to kind of disable ourselves and to not do something. It's there to teach us, transcend us, upgrade us. So being assertive is not a negative trait. You may need to discuss the really taboo subjects and the elephant in the room. The 8th house is taboo. It's almost like the Kama Sutra, and everyone talking about it like they're walking through the streets. It wouldn't be something that we commonly talk about. So the 8th house for you can be addressing the elephant in the room and really discussing this with the individuals that are involved in it. Definitely you're going to find that Saturn's going to be pulling you back, but you're going to be at war with it, because it's coming to that point where that volcano's got to pop. Okay? It's coming to the point, but with business, definitely I can see some growth and some changes. Don't forget to take a look at our YouTube membership. For those of you that haven't, I hope that this eclipse energy has helped. Like I mentioned, this can be a point, and I definitely probably wouldn't do, what would I say? If you were to do energy work on an individual and you're not grounded and you're not feeling anchored in, and you're having an upgrade because you've got really heavy placements of those zodiac signs, worst possible time you could do energy work on an individual. I would do it before and maybe 2 to 3 days after, and clear that space. Going into the eclipse, definitely keeping ourselves hydrated. If you do have heavy placements, be aware of the individuals around you, especially because it is a Mars energy, which can be like the planet of war. What are some of my predictions? Let's briefly look at it before I answer some of your questions. I did mention the locations. I do particularly feel in certain areas, especially along the ecliptic point, we can have some significant changes in weather. Very common, 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. I also think there can be some subjects to do with food and resources, banking, changing. So this can be us going into a digital currency. This could be banks closing, builders closing, new build, but whatever goes out comes in. We always see this. It always happens. We have one maybe industry going through a transformation and a new way of doing something, because where's the South Node? It's in Libra. Doing something with those contracts in a very unique, different way, in an innovative way. So whatever's going is being physically replaced. The other thing I can see is new laws coming up. Situations to do with water. Now, one of the psychic energies, and I've already seen this, it was like almost like something submerging from the shoreline. So would I be near the sea? No, I would not like to be near the sea right now. Why? Because Mars is there, so it can be tidal waves, it can be tsunamis. We already have seen, prior to the eclipse, we have had earthquakes. We have had volcanic activity, and some of those locations that I did directly already, and I'll say the date of when this is published. I can't remember now. It was weeks and weeks and weeks. It was a while ago. I know that. Well and truly before these events popped off. It is within my website. I did mention the locations of where these things could pop off and where the red zones are. Things to do with farming, things to do with laws, things to do with banking, wealth, marriages, divorces, partnerships, alliances to do with countries. Yes, potential areas we had was Greenland, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, United States, Canada, Iceland, UK. Also the following areas, which can be Australia, which can be Sydney, New South Wales, Melbourne, Tasmania, potentially WA, however, New Zealand and the islands surrounding, such as Japan and Russia. The other was Brazil, United States, Mexico, and I have linked also some series of events. Now, could we also have blackouts? Yes. I did directly discuss within the article within my website historically what some of those dates were. We had 1986, we had the Great Storm. We definitely can see some weather patterns come up, and that it hit around the 15th and 16th of October in 1986. The locations that were impacted were as follows: United Kingdom, France, Bay of Islands, Kent, and it was deemed as the Great Storms. What was another thing? And it did leave, okay, the British national grids were left without power, leaving thousands without. And I have placed the link within the website. So again, there was another one in 1964. Was it 19? No, it was 1941. We had a conjunction point, and that did directly cause some solar flares coming in. So there is a potential with solar flares and Uranus and Taurus with the Jupiter conjunction. It can cause the electric grid to be funky. So that's what we need to understand. It's Uranus can relate to the internet, the intranet. Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius can connect to, and we're probably going to see that more mid-month, I'm feeling, but there's still a possibility with interferences with solar activities during the eclipse as well. Could we have asteroids come in? Possibly. Okay, we do talk about the Devil Comet. Do I think it'll be the Devil Comet? Not necessarily, but it can be sort of like meteor showers and things to that degree as a possibility. But also things that we don't know are going to be revealed in relationship to comets, point blank. So I'm going to take a deep interest in these things. They're really going to come up quite interestingly. The other thing I can say is with CERN, the experiment, there's two things that are possible during the actual experiment. I do believe in the future and opening up portals that we are going to find things that we did not know scientifically. That's definitely, that's especially with Pluto and Aquarius, discovering things scientifically, mathematically. Math equations and the energy of math is going to be changing. We also can have subjects to do with wellness from, whenever we look to Pisces, it can also be using herbal things for future. So it might be that they have breakthroughs and discoveries through mushrooms or water or seaweed. It's quite unique, but we're going to have both negative and positive. So coastlines, I'll be careful for. Any areas that have been mentioned within the article on my website, I would be wary of. Also, we may need to rest a lot more. What are the other things I can see with this eclipse? Halley's Comet was directly linked to these eclipse cycles being in Aries and Libra. It came in 1910. We also had the Space Challenger disaster that occurred on the same time, and we had the Russell Street bombing around the time. So yes, the Cold War between the 11th and 12th of 1989, we had that going down. The Black Monday stock market crash, that was around that time. What else do we have? And Western. Yeah, okay. So the whole article is on the website. If you are wanting to see some of those things, I literally could speak about this for hours upon hours. I didn't have a lot of time to get the slides and anything to that degree completely done, so apologies for that factor. In the future, hopefully, I can, get a lot more done. So I'm going to go into answer a few questions. The other thing I can directly say is with these eclipses, what we do need to understand is what direction we are deciding to go into can be quite long-standing. So if we have moved into contracts during Mercury retrograde, we may find during these times that some of these things simply aren't resonating with us. There could be some hidden matter. There could be some circumstances that are coming up. This is a great time to get our resumes out. So if we were to get our resumes out because we were wanting to receive a new job, this can actually be quite positive because we can have a myriad of opportunities as it goes direct. So it sort of like acts like it throws it out into the ethers, and then suddenly you have all these opportunities coming in. The world is your oyster kind of situation. You can actually get to select things. So that can be very positive, especially, and I'm hoping that can answer your question, Antonella, in relationship to things. So from an employment point of view, like I mentioned inside your zodiac sign, you'll get the pointers inside of that. What you're going to find is there are opportunities that are coming to you, but there are doors that are closing. But definitely from your zodiac sign axis, what you're going to find is you're needing to find a harmony and a balance. You're needing to find what's working for you. With Libra in the South Node, what we can't do is go back to the way we were before. We're having to do things differently. And that is the way we're going to find, we're going to cope with the energy of Saturn. We're going to cope with the new beginnings. We could definitely see during this time at a very separate interval that conflict may be attempted to be renegotiated, but it could inflame during this time. It could inflame further, yes. I was supposed to turn that off and I turned the comment back on again. Any questions in the house? Thank you for coming, and I really hope you enjoyed this update. I hope that these updates help you. If you do need a private booking, you can go to the website and I can help you through your birth chart if you want to look at career, if you want to look at your love life. I may be really working on some content to describe when those portals for your love life are, when the portals for career, for wealth and things to that degree. Again, at the moment, they are done physically through private sessions, but with the amount of content I'm going to need to do to get these things off the ground, I have started creating some of the education content that I'm going to plug into the website that you can purchase whenever you're needing it, if it's a blockage that's coming up for you or it's something they're interested in. And I am going to try to work on one additional video a month that is more an education video. So the series of education videos I want to get on board are anything down to twin flame paths, spiritual development, psychic attacks, how to work with blockages, astrology. So I do have a lot of content needing to be created, and it's going to take me a long time, but we have to start somewhere. If this video did relate to you and resonated, I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you haven't subscribed, come through and subscribe.